Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Zimbabweans, in the great political jungle known as Zimbabwe, where loyalty is rented by the day and betrayal is as common as potholes in Harare, a new lion thinks it's his turn to roar. Yes, fellow survivors of the Zimdola saga. Oil baron and certified Mnangagwa fanboy Kuda Tagwirei is making a bold and highly suspicious sprint across the crocodile-infested river of ZANU-PF succession politics. This is no small feat. This river has chowed up and spat out men with real war records, feared security backgrounds, and even Robert Mugabe himself, who was once so feared his own reflection saluted him. But here comes Tagwirei with his Bible in one hand and a briefcase full of USD in the other, believing he can float to power on the fumes of fuel receipts. The man has guts. Or maybe just the kind of arrogance that comes from knowing you personally financed the party's last campaign t-shirts. While most Zimbabweans are busy chasing after basic things like bread, school fees, and not dying in potholes, our friend Kuda has been playing 4D chess with ZANU-PF insiders, not by firing AK-47s in the liberation struggle, mind you, not even by hosting grassroots rallies in the mud with traditional leaders. No, Tagwirei has done the modern-day equivalent. He bought his way into relevance. His method of operation isn't political mobilization, but financial lubrication. So much so that ZANU-PF Harare Provincial Coordinating Committee practically rolled out the red carpet to co-opt him into the Central Committee like he was the second coming of Samora Machel. 1 minute he's running fuel cartels, the next he is getting fitted for a Central Committee jacket. It's so smooth, even a bottle of Zuba diesel would be jealous. But let's not lose sight of the cold, hard truth. This is not a country club. This is ZANU-PF. And ZANU-PF succession politics is not some polite boardroom negotiation where you can wine, dine, and donate your way to the top. It's a blood sport. A dangerous, paranoid, cloak and dagger affair where today's comrade is tomorrow's sellout. Tagwirei is entering a terrain that has chowed up generals, silenced ministers, and buried the ambitions of vice presidents who dared to dream. He is stepping into a battlefield with landmines disguised as party slogans. In a space where betrayal is statecraft and poison isn't just a metaphor, his bid is either the boldest hustle in town or a fool's gamble with life insurance premiums he might never use. Why? Because standing firm on the battlefield is none other than Constantino Chiwenga, the statuesque vice president who sees the presidency not just as a goal, but as a reward for removing Mugabe and delivering ED to State House. Chiwenga is not someone you outbid. He is someone you outgun, and even that's risky. The man literally eats strategy and coughs out threats. His power base isn't Twitter likes. It's boots, barracks, and battle scars. And just when you think you have mapped the chessboard, there's General Philip Valerio Sibanda, a quiet kingmaker who has never raised his voice but doesn't need to. When he enters the room, generals stand straighter. And if he ever decides to remove his military uniform and run, well, Tagwirei's designer suits and tithe payments won't count for much. But this is not stopping Kuda Tagwirei from chanting ZANU-PF slogans.
Family, 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 ZANU-PF, family, Mnangagwa, family, ZANU-PF, family, Mnangagwa, family, ZANU-PF, family, Mnangagwa, family, 2030, Mnangagwa ni wachitonga, chitonga zvavo, 2030, Mnangagwa ni wachitonga, chitonga
And in the middle of all this chaos is President Mnangagwa, a man so cunning he once wore a scarf for 7 years straight just to remind us he is still in power. Mnangagwa didn't get to the top by accident. He spent decades watching from the shadows, learning when to smile and when to strike. He stayed a coup so quiet it was announced on TV as a military-assisted transition. If you think such a man is going to hand over power to a businessman with a fuel depot and a profit endorsement, you haven't been paying attention. Mnangagwa has no succession plan unless it includes himself again and again and again until someone switches off the generator at State House. So if Tagwirei is to get in, best believe he will get in as a puppet of Mnangagwa. As for Tagwirei, it seems he thinks that a Bible verse and a donation to a mega church and a whispered prayer in tongues will fast track him to State House. He's banking on what he calls the Holy Trinity of power: friendship with ED, unholy amounts of money, and spiritual influence over some of the country's most flamboyant prophets. Churches where pastors fly business class while congregants can't afford bus fare are suddenly proclaiming him as anointed. And who are we to argue with prophecy? If Tagwirei gets into cabinet, expect a few miracle crusades at Munumtapa building and maybe a night vigil over the Reserve Bank's vault. The rumor mill says Tagwirei is angling for a Politburo seat with a ministerial portfolio to match. This would allow him to learn the ropes because nothing says leader of a nation like someone who needs on-the-job training while the economy crashes. And who is cheering him on? Well, Patrick Chinamasa for starters, the same man who once defended bond notes like they were the second coming of the gold standard. Chinamasa is grinning ear to ear because Tagwirei's money is the kind of glue that sticks together even the most frayed party loyalties. In ZANU-PF, ideological clarity is for textbooks. Real power flows from who pays for the rally, the regalia, and the rice packets. Tagwirei's entrance has already shifted the tectonic plates within ZANU-PF. He has sparked controversy, backroom meetings, and frantic WhatsApp voice notes filled with cases and conspiracy theories. Even the old guard is panicking because when a man who didn't fight the war suddenly becomes a threat to those who still wear medals on their pajamas, everyone starts to question the rules. But this isn't just a political reshuffle, it's an earthquake. The fragile balance between generals, godfathers, and godmen is being tampered with, and Tagwirei, intentionally or not, is pouring high-octane fuel into a fire that's been smoldering since 2017. And let's not forget, in Zimbabwe, the marriage between business and politics is more toxic than a pothole filled with sewage. Tagwirei represents everything wrong with that marriage. A tycoon who benefits from government contracts, monopolies, and insider deals, now eyeing the very top. His bid isn't just about power, it's about protecting the empire he built with the government blessings. If he becomes president, who is going to audit the deals? Who is going to ask how a man got rich off fuel in a country where people still push their cars to work? His rise wouldn't just reshape ZANU-PF. It would turn Zimbabwe into a boardroom where politics is just an annex of corporate corruption. But let's not dismiss him entirely. In a party that rewards daring over decency, Tagwirei's risk may yet pay off. After all, in ZANU-PF, yesterday's outsider can become tomorrow's king if he plays the game better than the next man. But he must know the stakes. The last man who thought he was untouchable had to be carried out of office while pretending it was a voluntary resignation. Tagwirei is daring to dream big in a system that punishes ambition with exile, poison, or demotion to ambassador of Outer Mongolia. His no risk, no gain mantra might land him in the palace or in the kind of retirement plan that comes with constant surveillance and a suddenly unreliable heart. So as the country bends in inflation and political fatigue, as teachers teach without salaries and doctors prescribe air, Zimbabweans now get a front row seat to a new soap opera, The Billionaire Who Would Be King. Will he make it to the throne? Or will he be quietly told, you are better as a donor than a leader? Whatever happens, one thing is clear. ZANU-PF's circus never stops. Only the clowns change. Subscribe to Zimwaves TV, where we don't just report the news, we unpack it, roast it, and serve it hot with a side of political sarcasm. Hit that bell icon before Tagwirei buys YouTube too.
Mnangagwa ari muhomwe ya wikinero, iyera ari muhomwe yechigananda, ZANU iri muhomwe makuda kwashe, ona iri muhomwe yezvigananda. Unoitonga seiko nyika hii, iwe uri momwe yegoronyera. Unoitonga seiko Zimbabwe, iwe chiwepu chenunzva tunzva. Nyika yedu yaenda kumawere, mutserendende uya wepanhanzva. Padukuduku varakashi vanonyora, mamuona here wikinero wedu. Pano nepano mazanu anoti, kuda kwashe Tagwirei akapenga. Unoitonga seiko nyika hii, iwe uri momwe yegoronyera. Unoitonga seiko Zimbabwe, iwe chiwepu chenunzva tunzva. Nyika yedu yaenda kumawere, mutserendende uya wepanhanzva. Mnangagwa ari muhomwe ya wikinero, iye ari muhomwe yechigananda. ZANU iri muhomwe makuda kwashe, ona iri muhomwe yezvigananda. Unoitonga seiko nyika hii, iwe uri momwe yegoronyera. Unoitonga seiko Zimbabwe, iwe chiwepu chenunzva tunzva. Nyika yedu yaenda kumawere, mutserendende uya wepanhanzva. Hande itese tese varida yasipora, tinobvisa Mnangagwa nezvigananda. Uyai mose vechipinge nekwaseke, chigananda chetinetsa muZimbabwe. Unoitonga seiko nyika hii, iwe uri momwe yegoronyera. Unoitonga seiko Zimbabwe, iwe chiwepu chenunzva tunzva. Nyika yedu yaenda kumawere, mutserendende uya wepanhanzva. Mnangagwa ari muhomwe ya wikinero, iye ari muhomwe yechigananda. ZANU iri muhomwe makuda kwashe, ona iri muhomwe yezvigananda. Unoitonga seiko nyika hii, iwe uri momwe yegoronyera. Unoitonga seiko Zimbabwe, iwe chiwepu chenunzva tunzva. Nyika yedu yaenda kumawere, mutserendende uya wepanhanzva. Mnangagwa ari muhomwe ya wikinero, iye ari muhomwe yechigananda. ZANU iri muhomwe makuda kwashe, ona iri muhomwe yezvigananda. Unoitonga seiko nyika hii, iwe uri momwe yegoronyera. Unoitonga seiko wikinero wedu pano nepano mazana noti kuda kwa Tagwirei yakapenga unoitonga seiko nyika hii iwe uri mumwe yegoronyera unoitonga seiko Zimbabwe iwe chiwepu chenunzwa tunzwa nyika yedu yaenda kumawere mutserendende uya wepananzwa hande itese tese varidaya sipora tinovisa Mnangagwa nezvigananda uya imose vechipinge nekwaseke chigananda chetinetsa muZimbabwe unoitonga seiko nyika hii iwe uri mumwe yegoronyera unoitonga seiko Zimbabwe iwe chiwepu chenunzwa tunzwa nyika yedu yaenda kumawere mutserendende uya wepananzwa Mnangagwa ari muhomwe yawikinero iye rari muhomwe yechigananda ZANU iri muhomwe makuda kwashe ona iri muhomwe yezvigananda unoitonga seiko nyika hii iwe uri mumwe yegoronyera unoitonga seiko Zimbabwe iwe chiwepu chenunzwa tunzwa nyika yedu yaenda kumawere mutserendende uya wepananzwa padukuduku varakashiva nonyora